we can create this same interactive graphic using the Plotly package. But the weird thing is, or maybe not weird, but surprising, that there is no standard density plot in the Plotly package. So we're going to have to do some work in order to construct a density plot with Plotly, if we want to do it entirely within Plotly. If we want to do it with ggplot, ggplot has a density plot, so it does a lot of that work for us. So if I want to create this entirely in the Plotly package, I'm going to take some of the work that ggplot has done for us and try and recreate that in Plotly. So I'm going to use the layer data function again to get under the hood and see exactly how this density plot was created in ggplot. And I'm going to assign all of that data to a data frame we call dense data. And let me take a look at that data. Okay, and so taking a look at the first 3 rows of the corresponding data that we get out of here, it's telling me fill color, telling me what the density is at different X values. And it is also giving me a group number. So you can see over here, I've got a group, and this is saying that the Adelie penguins were given group 1. And if I look at some other rows of data here, I'm just looking at the first 3, the other classes of species got assigned to a different group. So if I'm looking at this, nowhere in this data frame does it say anything about what species we have. Instead, it mapped the species name to a group number, and it created the plot that way. So the first thing, or the next thing I want to do is change the names of these groups to their actual species. So I'm going to convert the group column, which is as an integer, data type integer. I'm going to convert that to a factor, and then I'm going to rename it rather than give them names like 1, 2, and 3. Those are not very descriptive. Group 1 is the Adelie species. Group 2 is Chinstrap. Group 3 was Gen 2. So this is just going to give each of those groups more descriptive names. We don't see any output here because we haven't asked to see that output. But here I can run this command at the very end and see. Well, sorry, what I want to look at is, yeah, dense data groups. I've now changed group 1 is now Adelie, right? So here we've updated the group names from an integer to a factor, and we've given them descriptive names. But all of the information that I need to create the density plot is now in here. I have the X value, I have the Y value, and then I have the species being called group now. So I've got all of that information. And so from dense data, I can go ahead and create my density plot, interactive density plot in Plotly. So what is it that I want to plot? What data set? I want to plot dense data. I am going to map bill length, which is the value stored in the X variable of this data set. So that's my bill length. The density I can pull off either, I could use the density column or the Y column here. They're both the same value. So here I'm going to pull off the density as my Y aesthetic. That's what I'm going to map on the Y axis. I'm going to split these 2 groups, or I'm going to split this data across group. So that is the species. So that's the equivalent of like mapping species to fill in ggplot. Here, I'm going to split this by the group. So this is going to create 3 different density plots for each of those three groups. The type of plot I'm going to create is a scatter plot. And this is again because there is no density plot in the Plotly package. So this is going to create a bunch of points, and then I'm going to tell Plotly to connect the plotted points with a smooth line. That's what the line mode is doing. So let's play this and see what the output is that we get. And here we've got our density, our three density plots. They're not filled in solid like they were with ggplot. We have them plotted with three different line colors. But here I can zoom along, or I can scroll along one of these density plots and get very similar information as what we got with the interactive density plot that we converted from a ggplot. And I just want to point out over here, I took this plot that we created and I did add a layer onto this plot using the layout. So here I kind of add this layer using the native R pipe, and then I can change the layout. The only thing I want to change here is the title of the x-axis, because the default would be it's going to call it X. The column name of that variable was X, but I want to call this a more descriptive title of bill length. So that I customized over here using the layout commands. Okay, so those are the two methods for creating this density and interactive density plot. It is rather tricky doing it all in Plotly. We needed to kind of get under the hood of the density plot that we created in ggplot. So I think it is much easier in this case to just go ahead and create a static density plot with ggplot and then make it interactive with ggplotly. Okay, thanks everybody.